Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wayne's World of Science and Technology, where today I'm going to try and break down the U.S.-Canada trade war. So, let's look at some of the indicators. One of the interesting things is that Canadian resident return trips by air decline. This is all over, but the United States, it was 25.8% as compared to 5.3% for all countries. And we also got the number of trips by automobile. Now, most Canadians do travel to the United States by automobile. I mean, I've done it any number of times. And so we're seeing, Canadian resident return trips, that's the one I want, not the US one. Steep decline, a 36.9% drop. A lot of Canadian visits to the United States are tourism related. We go to visit Florida, we go to visit Hawaii, we do all these things that are great fun. And pardon me, sorry for swinging my head, I just had an app decide to shut down, I had to restart it. This is going to have a huge impact on all of the border communities that rely on business from Canada. How huge? I don't really know. It's difficult to tell. Every person has a different spending limit. If the people going are the big, people not going are the big spenders, this could really hit hard. Now, let's look over here. U.S. liquor sales have dried up amid trade war, industry says. Well, I wonder why. And let me get rid of that. So, what do you do when your government has annoyed the single largest purchaser of alcohol on the planet? No, I'm not saying Canada's the single largest purchaser of alcohol on the planet. The single largest purchaser of alcohol on the planet is actually the government of Ontario. The government of Ontario owns the Liquor Control Board of Ontario, and all alcohol that, I say all alcohol, almost all alcohol in the province goes through that. There are exceptions for wineries, but anything other than beer goes through the Liquor Control Board. And the fact that the LCBO has stopped buying from the United States means that the United States is taking a huge hit. Now, they're saying 66.3% drop compared to last year. Spirits have been declining for a while in Canada, but the drop from the United States is going to be, the drop in purchases from the United States is going to hurt the U.S. economy really, really badly. Let's go over here. Again, talking about alcohol. Distilled Spirits Council estimates 62% year-on-year drop. Think about that. That's a lot of money. Boy, is that a lot of money. Then we got U.S. wine exports. Plummeted 97%. 97% drop on U.S. wine exports when U.S. wine exports to Canada were as large as they are. We purchased 130 million less wine. The U.S. wine industry is going to get hit bad. Now, let's go over to food sales. This is a fun one. You go through a Canadian supermarket now and you will see people checking on apps to find out where stuff is made. You also see them checking the labels very carefully. You end up with situations where the Canadian or other products, whether it's Brazilian, Indian, whatever, are selling great, and the US products are basically just sitting on the shelf. And that is going to have a massive impact over the long term. Now let's look at the farm equipment market. This is odd one because most people don't think about farm equipment, but farm equipment is basically a proxy for your agricultural production. U.S. sales have dropped. Canadian sales are holding pretty well steady. In most cases, in some cases, they're rising. So, U.S. combine sales dropped 20.9%. Canadian combine sales rose 15.7%. That is a very strong indication that the two countries are on a completely different track. And probably the U.S. ag industry is in deep trouble. Now, we already knew that the United States agriculture industry was going to have problems because of the push to get rid of all the illegal immigrants who are working on the farms. What most people don't understand is that this the assumption is that there are going to be people from the United States who will work these farms. Most people in the United States have no idea how to work a farm. I'm not being nasty, it's just if you don't do it, you don't know how to do it. Most people in the United States don't have any idea how to be a lawyer or a plumber either. There's no shame in that. If you aren't into that industry, you aren't going to know it. But this causes a huge problem because all of a sudden the system that was set up where they were basically relying on inexpensive foreign labor to do most of the heavy work has gone away, and they can't hire U.S. labor because most of the people in the U.S. don't know how to do the work. It's not something that they've grown up doing, and most people in the U.S. already have jobs, or at least did, before Donald Trump decided to trash the U.S. economy. Where's this going to go? I really have no idea. It doesn't look good for the U.S. economy. The Canadian economy is, well, it's supposed to crash. It appears to have, instead of crashing, stayed stable. Growth is practically zero now as compared to being relatively high in the first quarter. But the point is that it isn't shrinking. The U.S. economy is. And long term, I have no idea where the hell this is going to go. I don't like it. It's going to cause a lot of massive disruption in the United States. Disruption in the United States almost always spreads to Mexico and Canada. So yeah, I tend to be a little bit concerned about that. But there's not a hell of a lot that we in Canada can do about it. It's up to the United States to turn around and make their own decisions as to what to do about Donald John Trump and his policies that are basically killing the United States. And joy. Yeah. This is not one of my happier recordings. I did not want to make this one. It's not nice to pound down on someone who is basically being crippled by an idiot leader who, quite frankly, should be in a nursing home. But, unfortunately, it's what I've got to do. Anyways, that's it for now, folks. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Be good. And if you got something out of this, please like, share, subscribe, and all that trash. And I'll talk to you again. Bye-bye.